Hey everybody, how's everyone doing today? Hope everyone's doing good. As usual, let me know in the chat how things are going. Hopefully, all audio and videos going well. Let me know. Excellent. Bill, thank you for coming on. Mr. Cole, thank you. Excellent. Excellent. Chris is working on it. You're always working on something, Chris. Hey, Rion, thanks for coming on. Commander Joy's here. Trying to beat the heat. It is hot. It's definitely heating up in the summertime. So, Mr. Jeff, thanks for coming on. Today we're going to be talking about something that kind of I was working on yesterday, and I figured while it was fresh in my mind, I would go ahead and do a live stream on it. Thought that would be fun. 1 second. Hey Siri, turn on the lights. Got to get my cool. At some point, where are they? Hey Siri, turn on the lights. There they go. I got to get my cool YouTuber lights going. Man, can't be going live on YouTube without my cool lights. So So today or yesterday I was actually working on like email deliverability, and someone had posted that they thought I had something called DMARC was not fully enabled on a domain on a completely different thing that I was working on. And so I kind of took me down a rabbit hole of email yesterday. And I figured, hey, why not talk about it today on the live stream? So we're not going to be going into RapidReaver pretty much at all today. This is all talking about the technology behind sending email. And this isn't like, sending an email to your friend or your whomever. This is about sending bulk email, like newsletters, like the email you probably got in your inbox to watch this live stream, right? So what is all of the tech and the requirements and all the settings and the nuances around making sure that your email gets in the inbox, right? And I mean, because if we send out email to our customers, we want to make sure that it doesn't get into spam, hopefully, right? So how does an email get into spam? How does it get into the inbox? What can we do to ensure that it gets into the inbox and not the spam? Because hopefully we have some sort of system. I'll dive into a little bit of Sendy today, a little bit. We'll go into my Sendy instance, just to kind of show some things. But hopefully you have some sort of software, whether that be something like MailChimp or ConvertKit or ActiveCampaign there's all kinds of different ones. Or using a piece of software that I've talked about before, I've done live streams on, called Sendy. So Sendy is a host. I run it on my web server and allows me to manage customers' emails. So you can subscribe and unsubscribe from various lists. And that, I guess, is number one. You have to have that. You have to allow people to unsubscribe from your email list. And people have to subscribe to your email list. You cannot just add them without any sort of permission, okay? I try very hard to only send out email if you've asked for it. I have multiple lists. So, every week I send out emails on Deal of the Week. I send out emails on the live stream. And then I have some other like general sales, big announcement emails. And then my last one is on the Weaver Space newsletter, which I admit I am not good at sending out regularly. It's a fun email, and it kind of summarizes, the updates and what's going on in the community and stuff. And it just takes a few hours to do that. And every week it's just, I do like that email. If you do like that email, let me know in the chat. Maybe I'll try to get that more out. If you guys are remember the This Week in Weaver Space emails, I think I sent out a few this year, but definitely not. I was doing it weekly for quite a while. But anyway. So Bill says all my emails land in his spam. So, yep, that's something I'm working on, and we're going to be talking about that today and why that is and what I'm doing to make it better. And hopefully they won't land in your spam. Okay. So first off, I guess I'll share my screen here. Here. Okay. Let me move the chat over here. There we go. Let's go in. Oh, obviously I don't have. Let's see. Oh, I thought I had a Sendy instance open. Okay. So hopefully you have something. I use Sendy, but it could be, again, MailChimp or whatever. Okay. That, shows, you have various lists. And then people can subscribe or unsubscribe from those lists, right? In those lists, you can have auto subscription or auto responder sequences and all kinds of stuff, right? So hopefully you have that. I'm not going to dive into Sendy much or at all right now. I do have some videos on Sendy and how I use Sendy and how you can use it with my email stacks. If you have my email stacks, all of the emails that I send out were designed using my email stacks. Okay, so that is a great thing. Okay, and actually, if you use my email stacks, that's actually one way of getting into, into the inbox, is because, if you look at a lot of the fancy emails that are out there, they're images. Like almost the entire email of some of these, like, quote unquote spam messages, are mostly images. Like the really fancy ones, you think that it's some sort of fancy layout, but if you really look at it, it's just an image. Even the text, a lot of times, even the text is just an image. So my email stacks, we're not going to go into that today, but that is a very good thing to have. I use it with Sendy to send out all of my newsletters and email. Okay. So that does Sendy. So I found that this company right here called Postmark, they actually are an email provider, or a bulk email provider, right? So I don't use them. I wish I did, but their prices are just a little more than Amazon's SES service, which is what I use. Okay, and so it would cost me quite a bit more money to use Postmark. But with that said, they have some great resources that we're going to be talking about today. So I'll chuck this in the chat room here. This is postmarkapp.com/guides. Okay. And there's a lot of, I had a bunch of other articles that I was going to show, but this kind of has everything in one spot, and I really like it. So we're going to be talking about a few different things today that we can do. There's a few different sort of DNS record things that we need to set up to make sure that email services know that we are not spammers, okay, or that we're most likely not spammers is a more accurate description of that, okay. So we're going to be setting up something called an SPF record, which I swear I saw that they had a SPF. Oops. Oh, there it is, SPF record, right? So they have directions on how to set up an SPF record, okay, and kind of a nice explanation with great images, okay? I'm going to be giving my just quick analysis of what all of these things are, but please check out these, these guides if you want more in-depth explanation. Postmark's done a great job on that. So we're going to be talking about, again, SPF records is the first level. The next level is called a DKIM, okay? And then the third level is something called DMARC, okay? So we're going to be talking about those three things, and then we're going to dive into some more stuff that I discovered over the years and what I actually did some interesting things, hopefully for the world, for a lot of small businesses around the world. I started a conversation with Apache yesterday, which was kind of interesting. So we'll dive into that. Okay. There are a lot of other things here. Like, they do have recommendations on, they have some email design guides and what you can do and things you should add into your email. Check that out. There's a lot of content in here. And I think it's all really, really, really good stuff. So make sure I would read a majority of this. Chat about it on the community. I'd be happy to chat more about this, continue the conversation that we start here over there. Right. So first thing off, SPF record. Okay. what is an SPF record? So I forget what it stands for. What is it? A Sender Policy Framework. Oh boy, that's exciting. So essentially what an SPF record is, it is a DNS record. So I use Cloudflare for my DNS. So we'll see here that, where is it, my SPF record? It's a TXT. I was just looking at it. Oh, here it is. Boom. Okay. So here is my SPF record. Okay. And essentially, a lot of services that we use, okay, we can actually have them send email for us on our behalf. Does that make sense? Okay. So for example, for my newsletters, I use Sendy, but Sendy ultimately uses Amazon's simple email service. Okay. So for me, I'm allowing Amazon to represent me for email. Okay. There are other things such as I use Zendesk for my support email. So I'm allowing Zendesk to send email as me. Okay. And then the last one is I use a company called Fastmail for my email. So I'm allowing Fastmail to send email as me as well. Okay. So what an SPF record is it says for all email, if you get an email from that is from Weaverspace, okay, this DNS record will tell an email service provider that emails are allowed from Amazon, Zendesk, and Fastmail for me. Okay. And if emails come from anywhere else, okay, let's say someone's trying to spoof an email and try to send an email from a Google server or some other server, right? Well, because that other server isn't in my DNS record, the email service provider will definitely dock that as, hey, this isn't correct. What's going on here? Now we'll learn later on how we can tell the email service provider what to do if it doesn't pass, right? Okay. So that's essentially what an SPF record is. Again, you send an email service provider gets the email, it analyzes the from address, okay, and it sees where the email is getting sent from, okay, so it knows who's sending the email, which server is actually doing the sending, okay, and it sees, oh hey, this email is getting sent from Amazon SES.com, okay. I'm going to go ahead and do a lookup. I'm going to check the DNS records for Weaverspace and see if if Amazon SES.com is a part of the SPF record. Hopefully that makes some sense. There seems to be a vibration in your audio feed. Sorry about that. Not much I can do about that right now. Something I can maybe look at later on. Maybe there's a loose cable somewhere. Yeah, not much. I don't want to troubleshoot that. Hopefully, it's not too annoying. I could attempt to do this. Sounds like it's potentially a audio issue. All right, well, let's see. I unplugged and replugged the cables. Hopefully that made some things better. Not sure if it did. But anyway, okay. Let's get back to it. So, hopefully that makes sense that what the SPF record is. Yeah, you have a buzz there. Not sure what the buzz is. Yep. Sorry. Do not know what the audio interference issue could be. Is it really annoying? It's not too bad. Okay. Well, I'm going to keep going, guys. Okay, so that is the SPF record. Again, it's just a simple DNS record, okay, that you will add to your DNS records. I use Cloudflare for my DNS, but it could be whatever hosting company. And the syntax here, there are a ton of like SPF generator tools out there. And also, I'm wondering, do they have some sort of generation tool here? Here's a general example. Okay. And a lot of times if you're using, a particular service such as Amazon SEF, or SES, they'll have a little, a little generation tool for you to say, hey, add this SPF record to your DNS. Okay. There is a, they do have an open, standard, a website for open SPF. There's all kinds of, if you really wanted to go into here, this is open-spf.org. Okay. And this is where you can really check out all the syntaxes and all the kind of crazy things. Okay. But in reality, this is pretty much all you're probably going to need. This is on the Postmark apps implementation and details. They draw out all the, 99.9% options that you're going to need here. Okay. So, and they have this example. So essentially you're just going to add this include tag and then a domain, right? So in my case, it was include:mail.zendesk, right? And then include amazonses.com. So, and then you save that as a TXT record in your DNS. So, if you go to add DNS, you'll go add record, you'll do a type is TXT, you'll put in the name, which most of the time for SPF is just going to be your domain name. So mine was Weaverspace. And then this is where you put the content of your SPF record. Okay. There we go. All right. That does it for SPF. Next up is DKIM, 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 I guess we can call it, right? And here there it is. So DKIM, okay, what does that stand for? I don't even know what that stands for. Domain keys identified mail. Okay, so essentially what this is if you're familiar with kind of like encryption, a lot of things are public keys and private keys, right? So this is going to be generated from, like, for example, I'm using Sendy, and so I would go to Amazon SES, and this is the Amazon's SES dashboard. And you'll see here this, I have DKIM status. I've already verified all of it. So basically inside here, inside Amazon's SES, if you're using Amazon, this is just an example, you would generate the private and public keys. Amazon would give you those. Okay. And obviously the private key is just for you. You don't want to tell anyone that private key. Okay. And then the public key, you would then insert as a DNS record. Okay. So I have a DNS record, again, another TXT record that I then paste the public key as a DNS record. Okay. So now we have a private key and a public key. And what happens is when Amazon sends an email, okay, when Amazon sends an email for me, it signs that email, okay, aka, I'm going to say the word encrypt, but it's not necessarily encryption, okay? It's going to sign that email with my private key, okay? And then when an email service provider gets that email, it's going to say, hey, I see this is signed. I need to query his DNS to get the public key to make sure that those two match. Hopefully that makes sense, right? So it's another way to ensure that this email is authentic. All this is for is because, I mean, SPF and DKIM, they're all because of jerks in the world that want to send spam and spoof emails to get in our customers' email boxes or anyone's email boxes as us, right? It's all about tricking people. And so it's annoying that we have to go through all of this stuff to because of these people. Okay, so again, DKIM, it's a private public key thing. If you're using Amazon, they're going to have your private key stored on their server. They're going to give you the public key that you then add as a DNS record in your DNS. Okay, and as you see, it's not really readable. They're going to give you this big, huge, long string and say, put this in your DNS, and you just do that. Okay, I'm not sure what the process here is if you're using MailChimp or one of those services. I probably should have looked that up because I know a lot of people here are using MailChimp. So I'm just curious. MailChimp, nothing like doing this on the fly, right? DKIM. So it looks like MailChimp has some blog posts on this, verifying your email. So I guess setting up domain authentication. So this is where they call domain authentication the DKIM, okay, the DKIM keys. So you're probably gonna follow these directions to go through. And yep, here they're gonna give you the key, you then copy and then paste into your DNS record. So yep, very similar process to what I did on Amazon. You're gonna set up the keys in your MailChimp account, and then they're gonna give you stuff to paste in DNS. Okay, and I'm sure the same's for a lot of other email providers out there. Okay, there we go. Let's cancel. I don't want to change any of this stuff. All right. So those were the two. For years, those were the only two things that we had available to us to protect us, to make sure that our emails were authentic. They really came from Weaverspace or whatever your domain is. Okay. But then a few years ago, because spammers are annoying, they probably came up with other ways to get around this. But then a new standard called DMARC came up. Okay, I'm not sure what DMARC even stands for. Let's have a look. DMARC. What does DMARC stand for? Don't even know. I'm sure it's domain-based message authentication, reporting, and conformance. Man, that's a mouthful. Okay, so essentially what DMARC is DMARC requires that you have SPF and DKIM set up. Okay. And then DMARC is the policy that essentially says, okay, Mr. Email Service Provider, when in the case that you see that SPF or DKIM or DKIM fail, okay, for an email, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to approve the email, aka do nothing? Are you supposed to quarantine that email, which most of the time that means put the email in spam, or do you reject the email? Okay. Now, when I had actually set up DMARC, I don't know, umpteen years ago, I don't know, probably a few years ago. Essentially, when you set up DMARC, okay, now we're going to be going into DMARC a lot. There's just a lot of kind of things around that. I had set my rule up to be none, because normally when you first set up DMARC, you set it to be none so that you can kind of see what's going on, and then you tweak your rules later on to adjust. So then basically you go from none or approve. The actual syntax is actually none. And then you set it to quarantine, and you look at the results, and maybe you tweak some things, and then you set it to reject. The ultimate thing is you want to get to the place where you're telling the email service to reject any email that does not pass SPF or DKIM. Now, how do we know this? Like, what are we supposed to do? Okay. I do recommend you watch this video. I'm sure this guy is much more knowledgeable about it than I am. Okay. But essentially what you're going to do is actually Postmark also has a free service that I used for a long time. DMARC dot should have had this set up. Postmark free. Let me just there. Oh, DMARC. That's what I thought it was. Okay. So here, I'll put this in the chat. DMARC.postmarkapp.com. Okay. I'll put that in the chat. And what this does is it's a free service. So you can't beat free. Okay. And once you set up your DMARC record, okay, which in this tutorial over here, they kind of help you set that up. Okay. Well, they kind of do in this particular one, they talk about SPF and DKIM again. And then let's see where the DMARC record is. Here's the DMARC record. Okay. So here they have it set to reject. You can set that to be none and whatnot. Okay. So let's look at my DKIM record on my domain. DMARC record. Sorry, DMARC. That's what I meant. And so here I say I currently have it set to quarantine. I admit I just did that yesterday, actually, after, again, I was analyzing all this stuff. I realized that I had this P, okay? So this, I forgot I can zoom in. I should have been doing that a lot earlier. Before I had this P equals set to none, okay, in my record, okay? Again, that essentially has all your DMARC rules turned off. So it's just kind of like, I set DMARC so that there's other things that DMARC does. As you see here, we can set email addresses. Okay. So I set it up to send a specific email account on Weaverspace. And then it sends stuff to this one-off email that is actually given to you by this tool. Oh, wait, no, where is it? This tool. So when you set up your reports here, you set up your name and your email and you say, get started for free. It'll actually help you generate your initial DMARC record that you then add to DNS. Okay. And what's kind of cool is, I should have had this set up. 1 second. Let me find an email. It will send you a daily or weekly email. Okay. Let me find it. I had that ready. I think I was a little overzealous yesterday and deleted it. But this is what, anyway, this example right here, this is an example of the email that you'll get. Okay. And it'll have the domain that the email was sent from. And then I list out a ton of IP addresses that are all a part of that domain. And then it'll tell you how many emails were sent, how many percentage of that passed SPF, and how many passed DKIM. Okay. So basically you can get this data and then analyze it. And then you can see maybe a particular domain is, maybe you forgot to add one to your SPF record. Okay. Because, some other web app that you're using is sending email as you forgot about that. So you need to add their domain to your SPF record, right? So that's an example here. Let's say mtasv.net, which is this guy right here in this email. The heck? There, right? So this mtav sf.net, okay? Let's say that was a web app. I don't even know what that is. But let's say that was a web app that is sending email on my behalf. I would need to make sure that I added that domain into my SPF record. So then all of these would pass. Okay. So it's pretty cool. And again, this is something that runs weekly, and they do it for free, which is pretty awesome. Now, I discovered yesterday, after kind of researching all this, they have a new premium tool that I signed up for their 14-day trial. And essentially, I don't have much data on here because I just set it up again yesterday. And I've sent 2 emails since then. So I do have some data in here. But as you see, we can see, I've sent 4,000 emails from Amazon SES. And all of them are 100% DMARC aligned, right? Which is cool. But then we also have things like some other various servers. So I could dive into this, and there's a lot of them, right? Now it's kind of interesting with email is if someone forwards an email, okay? So let's say an email gets forwarded from, one account to another. That's what a lot of these are. So this says secureserver.net is the originator, but it looks like this was a forwarded email. So obviously when it's forwarded, SPF isn't going to be aligned, okay, because the forwarding service doesn't match the original sender, okay. So a lot of times these forwarded emails, as long as they're within a small range, they're okay. You can just ignore those, okay. In this tool, you can actually ignore forwarded and all that stuff. So this is just kind of an interesting tool that gives a little bit more detailed information than that one email does. I think it is $10 a month. So I'm not sure how, if I'll use this just temporary to kind of see how things are going and then maybe stop my subscription. And then if I ever need to reevaluate things or if I change my setup, I can then subscribe again. So yeah, but this is interesting. This is called DMARCdigest.com. It's actually linked to from this page here. It's called the Premium DMARC Monitoring. Okay. So again, quick roundup. Okay. So in my DNS record for DMARC, I configure it to send an email to me, and I'll show you what those emails look like. Actually, here's an email. It's not very exciting. Okay. So this is an email from packbell.net. And it's an aggregated report, and it attaches this report, and that's an XML file. Okay, that's what this email is. Not very interesting. I used to look at them sporadically for fun. I kind of got sick of it after a while, so I just ignore those. These emails just kind of go to my inbox, or they don't even go to my inbox. They get automatically filtered into a subfolder. Okay, that I never ever look at. Okay, but it is also sent to this DMARCdigest.com. So it's sent to two different email addresses. I get one. This web service gets the other one. And that's how they're able to get all these reports. Okay. And again, all that happens with this DMARC record. Okay. This DMARC record here. And ultimately, I will work on getting this P parameter set to reject instead of having none or quarantine. Okay, so after I, am happy analyzing all of, this data and making sure that everything is set up properly in my SPF and DKIM records, I'll then set the DMARC to be reject. Okay, now hopefully because it's set to reject, you're going to have less of your email going into the spam folder, because if it's set to quarantine, it's go to spam, right? And if an email if your domain gets learned to go to spam, it will kind of always go there. Okay, unfortunately, right? Even if you try to fix stuff. So I'm unsure on how I'm going to do that. Like in the long term, I think eventually things will start cleaning up for my domain. But we'll see. Let me see if there was any other questions. Sounds like a stuttering ground loop. Oh, yep. Sorry, don't know what's going on with the audio. But anyway, okay. Let's see, we've gone through Amazon. There is also a DMARC website, dmarc.org, and you can look at the syntax and all that jazz there. But like I said, this postmark tool, it'll generate it for you. And then it will, for free, they'll do this weekly report, which is interesting. So check that out. I used this report for probably 2 years or so. I've been using this, and just yesterday I discovered this premium service. Thought I'd give it a shot. Okay. So after you set up all of these things, all these cool DNS records, we're done, right? I mean, that should be all we have to do. We've gone all out. We've made sure that, we've included all the potential servers that can send from us. We've, set up this DKIM signing and our DNS records. And not only that, we set up DMARC, and we told all the email service providers to reject any email that doesn't pass SPF or DKIM signing. That should be done, right? We should be golden. Not really. Okay. And this gets into where I've been battling for a couple years, because I've had SPF and DKIM and DMARC set up for a while. And I still get in spam. As you see, I think Bill Francis said, hey, all your emails still going to spam, Joe. What's going on? Okay, so now we get into spam filtering. And how does that happen? So most email service providers use some spam software. It's an open source software from the Apache Foundation. Okay, you've probably heard of the Apache Open Source Foundation, multi-billion-dollar open source software company, for lack of a better term. Okay, and they power most web servers around the world with their Apache software, but they also have software called Spam Assassin. And most email service providers use Spam Assassin to filter out spam messages. Now, I have to say the documentation around Spam Assassin and Googling around how it works is like extremely esoteric. Okay, there isn't much out there. What is out there is very cryptic. It's like on what looks like ancient forums that are like, or email user groups where the websites aren't even HTTPS, which baffled my mind when I discovered that yesterday. Okay, but there's a lot of stuff out there, or there isn't a lot of stuff out there about Spam Assassin and what its rules actually do and how you can be a better citizen to get around those. And I'm assuming they do that because they don't want spammers to go circumvent the rules and then, making it hard for them, right? So what can we do? So, Spam Assassin assigns your email a score, okay, based on many different rules. And most email service providers, I used Fastmail, okay, and in Fastmail, if your email scores above a 5, or if any email scores above a 5, they are going to put that email inside spam or junk mail or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so if your Spam Assassin scores above a 5, I don't know if all email service providers do that. I use Fastmail. Their rule is anything above a 5 goes to spam. Now, there are ways to circumvent that. If an email service provider sees the sender's email in your contacts, okay, then they will not put it into spam. Now, however, like for example, I use Fastmail for my mail. All my contacts are synced with Apple over iCloud. If I wanted my contacts to circumvent the spam rules from my ESP from Fastmail, I'd have to sync all my contacts into Fastmail. Okay. I don't do that right now, and I'm sure a lot of other people don't. So this is something to think about, right? So just because someone let's say I added my email into my contacts, just because it's in my contacts doesn't necessarily mean it's in the contacts on my email service provider. Okay, just something to think about there. But with that said, I don't think a lot of people are adding support.weaverspace to your contacts. If you wanted to make sure that you got all of my emails ever, one thing that I do is every single email, this has nothing to do with spam. Every single email that I send out is support@weavers.space. It is always from that support email. Okay. I don't use the no reply things that a lot of companies do, because I want to make sure that any email that I send to you, you can automatically reply to it, and I will see it. I will say somebody will see it, but it's me. Okay, so I want to make sure that any email that I send out, you can reply and get in touch with me, or or with somebody. Right? I think that's very important. That's just a personal thing from a business decision that I made. So, but again, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, Spam Assassin. Okay. So how do we know what our spam score is? Okay. And how do we know what rules were triggered? Okay. Well, let's let's have a look. Let's go ahead and share my screen again. All right, cool. All right. This is the email that I sent out for this live stream. Okay. And what you'll notice here, you'll notice that I actually am displaying the spam score here. Okay. So I'll show you how to do that. That's actually kind of a cool thing that I discovered how to do yesterday. So it will display it on every email. So for example, here is RealMax email that was sent out earlier this morning. Maybe some of you got that. It also has a spam score of 4.9. My email got a spam score of 4.9. Let's look at this one. This one has a spam score of 0, which seems interesting. Not sure how that was even possible. I haven't looked at that. Why? And you'll look at other emails. Let's say, for example, let's find one that a personal email from me. Here's an email from my father, and that has a spam score of 3.7. So, Dad, you have a spam score of 3.7. Okay. But as you see, there is a spam score. Okay. Let's just close these. We're going to focus on my email. Okay. And again, remember, spam scores of 5 and above go to spam. And I think other even email service providers are lower than that. Fastmails is 5. I'm pretty certain other email providers are higher than that, or lower than that, I mean. Because I know that my email goes to spam for a lot. Okay, so hey, I'll show you how we can, if we go to message, it's message, right? No, view, message, all headers. Okay, so if you do that in Apple Mail, if you use a different email software, I don't know how to do this. Okay, this is Apple Mail. So in Apple Mail, you can open up your email. You can also do this with the main viewer open, okay, in the main mail window. I just want to focus on this one email. Whoops, there we go. Okay, so we have all of the kind of the hidden data behind this. And actually, if we look, we can see that. So we have our spam score. If we look in here somewhere, we'll find my DKIM record. We'll find my SPF records. Oh, here. Received from, so we can see this was received from Amazon SES. Okay. Anyway, there's a lot of data in here. It is very kind of cryptic, and you kind of have to search through this blob of text. Okay, but there are some things that I want to point out. Okay, first off is this spam score. Okay. Next is spam hits. Okay. This is a summary of all of the rules that are processed for this email by my email provider and the scores for each test. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do here. We're going to do a new file. All right. I don't need it big. Okay. And we don't need that. We're going to paste this in here. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and really quickly. Actually, let's do this. Will that work? Ah, dang it. Darn it, that didn't work. Okay, hold on 1 second. My goodness. All right, well, let's just do this again. We're gonna boop. 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 I'm just trying to make this slightly easier to read. There we go. Okay. Let's get rid of all the commas just for fun. Okay. Yeah. Boom. Okay. So here is every test, and the total of all the numbers is my spam score. Okay. So if we see here, there's this Bayes 50. Okay. And if you wanted, you can go ahead and Google like Spam Assassin Bayes 50, and good luck figuring out what that does or what it is. Okay. So anyway, for some reason, this Bayes 50 gave me a score of 0.8. Okay. Then there's this from suspicious NTLD. Now, just from the name of this, I can tell what this is from. This is from a suspicious TLD. Now, if you guys know what is my website, it is weavers.space. Okay. Whoops. So, in a domain, the last part of the domain is what's called a TLD. So I don't have a com TLD. Mine is a space TLD. And it's giving me a score here of 0.5 because I have a suspicious TLD. Okay. And if we look at the next one, this is suspicious NTLD FP. What does the FP stand for? I do not know, but it is giving me a score of essentially 1.6. Wow. So I now have a score of 2.1 and 0.8. That's 2.9, and most of that's just because I have a space TLD. Damn. Okay, well, let's keep going. I'm not at 5 yet, or I'm not in any sort of danger category. Okay. HTML font low contrast. Okay, so it thought my contrast was good. So this is where design does matter in your email, because people spammers tend to try to hide things, right? Image ratio. So I have a very good image ratio. So my email isn't all images. Cool. It's an HTML message. 0.001. Okay, cool. Me has VSSU. I have no clue what that is, but it didn't dock me there. Sender reputation. Apparently I have a good reputation. So there we go. Cool. Again, here, PDS other bad TLD 1.9. That gives me a 2. So that means there's 3 tests right here in Spam Assassin that just because I have a space TLD, it's nothing against me personally, they are just blanket being suspicious of a space TLD, of a normal and irregular TLD. I'm getting hit at, let's say, 1.6 plus 5 plus 2. That's 4.1 just because of my name, just because of my domain name. Wow. Okay, so let's keep going. And again, remember my total score was 4.9. So here I have this. I have no clue what this was. Spike H2, no clue what that was, but it gave me a negative score, so that must mean I did something really good. No clue what that was. SPF hello, SPF pass. So it passed my SPF, so it gave me a slight negative score. Cool. Remote images. I do have remote images. I do have images in my email, but I don't have a ton, so it only gave me a 0.01. Okay. And then this is just language about this is the version of Spam Assassin. SA version is 3.42. Okay. But all of these up here, I think I'm pretty happy with this score, minus this suspicious TLD thing. Because there's nothing I could do with it. Just because I chose a .space web domain, I'm getting docked over 4 points, which on Fastmail is almost there. It's like 90% there to being spam. Okay. So without those tests, I'm at like a 0.8, which is astounding. So what can we do about this? Essentially, I don't have good news. Okay. If you have a TLD right now, that is irregular, what is considered a suspicious TLD? I have no clue. The list is not public. No clue what is considered a suspicious TLD. I'll tell you right now, if you have a space TLD, your spam score is instantly going to be 4.1 at the beginning. You start out at 4.1. Is that unfair? 1000% it is unfair. What can we do about it? So, I've been going around the forums literally for years trying to figure out what I can do about this. Like, I've talked to my email service provider, okay? And, asking, hey, what can I do as a sender of emails, as a business who sends out emails? What can I do? Right? And essentially they say, well, is not much you could do because your domain is considered to be on a suspicious TLD. There's nothing you can do about that. It's on a blacklist, essentially. And so, I kind of just ignored it for mostly for years. Okay. But yesterday, for some reason, I thought, you know what? I'm sick of this. And it's not affecting just me. I mean, there are tons of people, probably a lot of you here on the live stream, as well as probably thousands of other people that have bought all kinds of interesting URLs, because nowadays it's hard to find a .com or a .net address that is actually useful and, fits with what we want our brand to be. So that's why all these new TLDs have come out, so that we can actually get something that's decent. But little did anybody know that the Apache Software Foundation has decided to screw all these businesses, for lack of a better term, because nowadays email is king. Like, I can post on the Weaverspace community all I want. I can post on Twitter, and I can post on Facebook, and I can do these live streams on YouTube about a fantastic new product that I've built. But unfortunately, while a lot of you, I appreciate everyone that's loyal and that does interact on Weaverspace, but I don't make money on a new stack, or at least, anything to talk about, until I send out that email. Okay? Email is where the money is. Hands down. I have spent thousands testing ads, testing social media posts on different various networks. And I do post on networks, okay? Because while it's hard to measure their return, email is easy for me to realize that once I send out that email, the sales start. A bulk of the sales. But now, I mean, what if my spam score wasn't at 4? How good would my sales be then? Right? How many more eyes would get on these emails, right, that I'm sending out? And again, I'm not a spammer. Every email that is sent out is because you or the person has subscribed to that email. And if you don't want that email, there's a link at the bottom. You can unsubscribe. Okay, I only want to send out valid emails. I don't want to be in your spam folder. I don't want to be annoying. That's why I allow you to subscribe from different emails that I send out. But I don't feel it's right for the Apache Software Foundation to discriminate on me just because I have a unusual TLD or a non-common TLD in my domain name. So yesterday I decided to fight back a little bit. So I found the Apache Software, their bug tracking tool. It is open source software. Spam Assassin is open source. And so I went and I found their bug tracking tool. I created an account and I went ahead and created a ticket or a bug. So I found Spam Assassin's bug tracking tool. And I went ahead and typed out a quite lengthy, passionate response that essentially of everything that I went over right now. how these 3 particular tests gave me a starting point of 4.1. Okay? And how that just isn't fair. It isn't fair for me as a valid businessman, right? Who's trying to be a good email citizen to get blocked by the biggest spam software in the world. Or essentially, get chopped off at the knees, essentially, right? I mean, having a starting point of 4.1 instead of 0 does not seem fair. Okay? Now, a couple hours after I filed this bug, it was pretty much immediately, closed and said that they won't fix it. And that this guy says, science backs it up. Sorry, you're on a problematic TLD. Done. Closed. Ignore. And I expected that. I'll be honest. I did expect that. That was the expected response. And then I was planning on sleeping on it, and I was going to try to fight back today. Okay. I was going to try to come up with some logical to reason with this Kevin McGrail. Okay. But luckily, when I woke up this morning, while it is still resolved, won't fix, other people have chimed in. Now, I'm not sure who all of these other people are, okay? But they do see that this is unfair. Okay, and they have started a conversation about how they potentially make it more fair. So I'm pretty excited about that. And that's not, again, that's yes, I'm excited for me, but I mean, this one rule just probably obliterates or at least hinders the businesses of thousands and thousands and thousands of websites out in the world that have, over the recent years, bought these newer website domains. And they have no idea why, even if you've gone through all this SPF and DKIM and DMARC, and you maybe even spending tons of money with Postmark or some other, big email service to get better deliverability, if you're getting hacked at the knees by spam assassin on the email service provider, all that work doesn't matter. So I'm slightly more optimistic now that I've seen these responses from this morning. I'll put the link to this if anyone's curious to read this. I'll put the link in the chat. That's just something interesting. So as of right now, I have no fix for you. If you have a TLD, you start at 4.1 spam score. And hopefully, I'm at 4.9, which is just on the cusp, at least for fast mail. Apparently for others, it's not. Okay. Or I don't know. Maybe I think I heard around the internet that some email providers have a 4. So if you have above a 4, you're considered spam, which is just a little annoying. So I don't have a great solution for you yet, but I'm pretty happy with myself that I was able to, file this bug and maybe start a conversation, at least with the Apache Software Foundation, to open their eyes on what their current software is doing and how it affects, small businesses. So hopefully it improves things. I'm optimistic, or a little bit more optimistic, based on the responses from this morning. So I am happy about that. So other things that I might do, actually. So obviously I said that, adding an email to an email address to someone's contacts, okay, will help your email service provider know whether or not that emails from that particular company or person are spam or not. So something I might try, you might start seeing this in my emails, is a little link to a contact card. Okay. And it'll be a contact card that I make in Apple Contacts app. And it just will download that contact card so that you can add Weaver Space easily to your contacts. How many people will do it? I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see. It'll just be a link, and it'll be a completely optional thing that will make it easier for you to add me to your contacts. Okay. I'll probably add some more information, maybe a cool little logo, so that when an email comes from us, it'll have our nice Weaver Space logo. I don't know, maybe I can do some sort of special discount code for people that add us to your contacts. I don't know. just an idea of to kind of, get our emails more visible to people. So, another thing, hey, add me to your contacts. Add support@weavers.space. Every email that I send out goes to that. So if you would like to make sure that my emails don't get spammed, and also it does help if you use the not spam button, right? So that your email service provider knows that I am not spamming you. Those things do matter. So if you do tell people that I am spam, that kind of hurts my email reputation across email service providers. So, yeah, if you want to unsubscribe from my emails, go ahead and use the link at the bottom. Feel free to unsubscribe. I won't hate you for it. I will still love you. Yeah, make that easy. But don't report as spam. And that happens not just for me, for anybody, right? So yesterday I also went through my entire spam folder and unsubscribed to emails. And I do have to admit, pretty much every email that was in my junk folder was emails that I actually subscribed to. I will admit it. I subscribed to a lot of those emails, or I had given someone my email address and checked the box that yes, in order to, maybe it was to get something. Like, for example, I bought some shirts at the Gap or Banana Republic. It was Banana Republic for my son. And they're like, oh, if you give us your email, we'll give you an extra 10% off today or something like that. So I did that, right? And I got my 10% off on that purchase. But then I've been getting barraged from emails from them like daily, which is crazy. And they've all been going to junk. But I did willingly do that, right? I sold my email address to them, right? And I have unsubscribed from that list now. But it is something that I did. So even that particular instance, it really wasn't spam. I asked for it, right? So yeah, yesterday I had an unsubscribe party, and I unsubscribed from a ton of emails that I did actually subscribe to that I no longer want, because so many people send so many emails, like daily, like multi per day. It's crazy how companies, it has to work. I don't personally like that, but it must work if companies are doing it, right? But yeah. Anyway, that's all I had for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully I didn't bore you to death. Hopefully audio didn't completely drive you nuts. I'm not sure what the audio problems were. I will definitely look into that this afternoon. And yeah, hey, if you feel like commenting on that Apache bug that I filled out, go ahead and create an account and add your comment. Yeah, tell people that you think this isn't fair either. Couldn't hurt, right? So cool. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you, hopefully many of you, on Friday at the Hangout this Friday. That is at 1:30, so 1 hour from right now. But on Friday, we'll see you there. And yeah, we'll see you on Weaver Space too. Take care, everyone. See you next week. Bye.